So recently I read a Vicious Syndicate Data Reaper meta report, and they claimed that Warrior is so bad that they couldn't even find a deck worth playing. But I don't believe it. I don't believe there's a world where a class can play Sword Eater into Mor'shan Elite and not have a viable deck. So I'm here today to figure out what that viable deck looks like. And I'm happy to report that with the list I've created here, I have a 100% win rate against the bottom 8 classes. I'm still kind of struggling against Mage and Paladin, but overall I am 13-7, so that's a pretty good record. So what exactly is this deck trying to do? Well, basically we're just playing good warrior cards, playing stuff on curve, and trying to tempo out. Of course, our big tempo thing is Mor'shan Elite. We lead into that with Sword Eater and Reaper Scythe. I started that with Outrider's Axe, but the 3 damage is really bad, and like the cleave from Reaper Scythe is pretty good, even against Mage, because I keep losing to like Runic Carvings nonsense, and I think it's like way better against Paladin. 4 mana Breakpoint against like Northwatch Commander, and just like it's good against not setting off Avenge. I think Reaper Scythe is just better than Outrider's Axe right now. But yeah, leading up to that Mor'shan Elite stuff, we've got Warsong Envoy, which is a good 1-drop. We've got all these random 2-drops that are all like pretty decent. I'm playing Cult Neophytes because 50% of my opponents are Mage. We've got a nice assortment of random 3-drops. I was playing against a bunch of Paladins, so I included Horde Operatives, and then I played like 10 games in a row that were not against Paladin. But even then, Horde Operative is like okay against Mage. I'm playing a Sunwell Initiate because I'm playing an Overlord Sourfang, and I felt like I needed another Frenzy minion on top of the Anchorman, the Samuro, and the Warsong Envoys. The Samuro has synergy with Stage Dive, which is probably the best way in the game to use it. Also, sometimes we hit it with Cruel Taskmaster. And it's also just a 2 damage AoE off Sourfang. And then finally we've got an Alexstrasza Lifebinder at the top end for some damage to close out some games. So yeah, I've had pretty decent success with the deck so far. I am like 3-5 against Spell Mage, but that is trending up after including the Cult Neophytes, I think, so I think this deck could be pretty good. Alright, my last few games against Mage have been some BS. So I'm excited for my revenge game. Not a great hand, but the Cult Neophyte is quite good. Although on the coin, they just coin out the deck of Lunacy, which kinda sucks for me. The Sword Eater is definitely a good draw. Okay, no scam spell. It's pretty good. Unfortunately, the Cult Neophyte's a little worse than usual, since they do have the spell damage minion they could be playing here. That is a really bad Devolving Missiles. And that is a really good draw. I guess I'll hold the weapon charge, because I'm always hitting with it on 5, and maybe I want to play like Anchorman on 6, I don't know. Come on, Desk Imp. You know you've always wanted to be a tiny Finn. Unlucky. Oh, that's pretty good though. Chaos Nova would be the scariest thing here. Looks like they don't have it, which is very good. Alright, the opponent's at 8. I have 16 damage from weapons in my hand. They might not even be able to deal with this board. Are they going for something specific with that hit? Oh no, they just have a Cycle of Hatred, but it's not good enough. Shooting Star? Alright. Lethal. Even if I didn't have lethal, I could have cleaved 2 more of those. It's still in an okay spot. Always keep the Mor'shan Elite because it's the best card in my deck. Could have maybe kept the Frothing Berserker, but there are a lot of things I would rather have in its place. Horde Operative not among them, but Warsong Envoy is better. Beautiful Sword Eater. Let's find any 2-mana card for next turn. Actually, Corsair Cache wouldn't be that good. But I would settle for it. I could spend my mana on it. Okay, well I hit the Corsair Cache.
You don't pick the wand, silly.
Wand Maker. I'm hesitant to play the Horde Operative here, because this definitely could be a secret rogue. But, I mean, it was either that or armor up, so I'll take the Spider Tank. And I think it's probably not secret rogue. Alright, just a weapon rogue. I guess Wand Maker can hit 2 of the poisons, though. Although it could have last expansion too, and they never played it then. I'm always hitting with the weapon next turn. There's a good chance I would want to play the Stone Maul Anchorman on turn 6. So I'll hold this weapon charge. Yoink! This came off the Wand Maker, but I think people do unironically play Yoink in their deck, which seems so bad to me. But I haven't tried it myself. Well, that was definitely the best 1-mana spell.
Give me that. Not what I want.
Pretty easy Mor'shan Elite turn, I think. So the downside of not hitting with the weapon last turn is that maybe this turn I actually want to go Reaper Scythe plus Athletic Studies, but I mean, if I have a good Reaper Scythe, it's not that big of a deal to throw away the Jawbreaker. Jeez, another weapon. This is a 4-power weapon now, so it's going to one-shot my Mor'shan Elite, but if they do that, they're at 7. I really don't spend my mana that well this turn. What if I just play, like, this thing, and then Athletic Studies? I'll take Rakara, because I think the other two are just too expensive. Ow.
Give me that. Not what I heard.
That is a really good 1-mana card.
I'm not too young to fight. Crossword.
Well, they can't kill Rokara with their weapon or they die. And I don't think I can die here, having seen a Wicked Stab and a Sinister Strike, but we'll find out. Oh, okay, that's a way to kill my Rokara. I might need to draw into a taunt minion to live here. That shank is pretty big.
Wasn't me.
Hey, loser.
Wasn't me.
Well, that's a really good draw. Those were not very good, though. So I have to armor up. I'm at 14, my opponent needs 9 from hand. Probably not that likely to die to 9 damage. I think the last 5 mana I spend this turn doesn't really matter at all. Either I'm dying this turn or they're dying to my Reaper Scythe.
Wasn't me. I did.
Oh my god. I feel like I was probably pretty unfavored at that point. We take that win.
Garrosh versus Gul'dan. Your soul shall be mine. Victory or death.
I do like Stagehand and Defrauding. It's not really like the best thing I can be doing on those turns necessarily. Well, I guess it kinda is actually. I don't think I keep the Reaper's Scythe, though. If my opponents control, which they almost always are, then the weapon's not super good, and there are just other things I'd rather hit. I have a handful of 1-drops. I'd rather hit Mor'shan Elite, and then just try to draw one of my 5 weapons. I have 2 2-drops, but they don't really line up in a way where I would want to coin one of them out. Well, with the Armorsmith pickup, I kinda wish I had coined out the Stagehand last turn, but how could I have known such a thing?
Sharp. Rouse. Smell.
I think this is a pretty easy Frothing Berserker. I'm not sure what I want to do next turn. I mean, obviously it's going to depend on what my opponent does. Base. I feel like maybe you could have just value traded there and been pretty happy, but I guess if the opponent has no other play, that's fine. I kind of want to coin out the Envoy. And hit it with like a freaking Cruel Taskmaster next turn. But I probably just want to Watley next turn.
No one practice rusty with me.
Kind of wish I had kept that Reaper Scythe and just played it last turn. But that's fine. I guess I can Cruel Taskmaster this, but probably just play Watley. And of course, by play Watley, I mean play Mor'shan Elite. I guess I'm killing this. 'Cause it's probably gonna value trade anyway. Maybe I wouldn't have been that upset giving it the opportunity to trade with a 4/4. Maybe I just missed 2 damage there. Well, I'm really glad they didn't play a turn earlier when they had the opportunity. If I was playing Outriders Axe, I would probably Corsair Cash here, but I'm not, so probably just gonna play Watley. Nine cards in hand, so I don't have to coin anything out here, but I could. Nah, probably just play a Warsong Envoy. My board is pretty scary, and we are pre-Twisting Nether.
Put some soul into it.
That's a pretty small Sociologist. So I can go Sword Eater plus Cruel Taskmaster, which gives me, let's see, this would get +3, and then +2 from the Cruel Taskmaster, so 6, 10, 14, 17, and then I have an Alexstrasza in hand. My opponent's at 8, so I could do this. If they play Nether, they just die. Unless they draw both soul fragments. Cool. If I didn't have Alex here, this game might actually be pretty losable. But I did have Alex,